And this perfectly captures the frustration for a lot of Mustang fans. We got these mismatched rally-style wheels, but fans have already jumped into Photoshop to prove that just swapping those white grille nostrils for teal ones completely fixes the front end. And it gets worse. If Ford had just used the wheels they literally photographed next to this car in their early promotional material, the whole stance would have been basically built a brand new Mustang that's supposed to be a loving throwback to the iconic 80s Fox body. But here's the catch. They put wheels on it that make absolutely zero sense. So today we're going straight into this new FX package and we're going to find out if this $75,000 car actually works as a modern tribute or if it's just a total myth. Let's kick things off with a massive question. Because the glaring white wheels and the matching white grille nostrils on this car demand an immediate explanation. I mean, before we even talk about how it drives, you have to ask yourself, does this color coordination actually capture the spirit of the 1980s, or is it trying just a little too hard? Keep that question in the back of your mind because we're going to tear into that design choice in just... First, let's talk about what makes this thing actually move. Under the hood, it packs the legendary 5.0-liter Coyote V8, pumping out a very healthy 480 horsepower. You step on the gas in this thing, and there is absolutely no dead air. It responds with exactly the kind of urgency you'd expect from a naturally aspirated V8. It also delivers a solid 415 pound-feet of torque to get you off the line, really quickly. Honestly, those are headline numbers that would have made any Fox Body owner in the 80s completely lose their minds. But as with everything on this particular car, there's a fascinating little... So here's the mystery. This engine actually loses about 6 horsepower compared to a standard Mustang GT. Why? Well, because for the very first time, equipping this specific package means it drops the valved performance exhaust. You literally lose a tiny bit of top-end power just to get this specific retro configuration. It's a small twist, for sure, but it keeps things interesting as we look at what else Ford... Okay, let's dive into what actually makes this the FX package. The name itself, FX, is a direct nod to the Fox Body era, and Ford is taking this connection so seriously that they heavily promoted it by parking this brand new car right next to an original, pristine Fox Body Mustang on their official website. They are setting an incredibly high bar for nostalgia here. The nostalgia hits hard with some beautiful era-specific details. You get this gorgeous Adriatic Blue paint, which is basically a stunning modern take on the classic Calypso green from the early 90s. Inside, you get these fantastic retro plaid seat inserts and contrasting white and teal interior stitching. On the outside, there's white badging everywhere, unique white taillights, and they even brought back the classic Fox Body-style Mustang script right on the rear glass. On paper, it's gorgeous. Here's where the whole aesthetic just totally falls apart. Let's just let this breathe for a second. The clashing white wheels that come heavily paired with the GT Performance package are confusing. Instead of screaming 1989 Mustang 5.0, these wheels look like they were ripped straight off a modern Mach-E rally car. They completely fight the 80s vibe instead of support. Perfectly captures the frustration for a lot of Mustang fans. We got these mismatched rally-style wheels, but fans have already jumped into Photoshop to prove that just swapping those white grille nostrils for teal ones completely fixes the front end. And it gets worse. If Ford had just used the wheels they literally photographed next to this car in their early promotional material, the whole stance would have been basically... Interestingly enough, there is a loophole here. If buyers decide to skip the expensive GT Performance package, they actually get a much cleaner, way more era-appropriate 5-spoke wheel. It's kind of ironic, right? By spending less money and skipping the track-focused upgrades, you actually end up with a car that looks much more authentic to the original Fox Body. Moving inside the cabin, I have to say, Ford absolutely nailed the digital dash. The retro gauge cluster is brilliant. It perfectly mimics the old analog dials, and it's totally customizable with different colors. The only tiny thing missing, a digital speed readout right in the middle of those retro dials, would have just perfected the look and modern usability. You can't have modern screens without modern bugs. During our testing over a few days, we ran into a well-known Apple CarPlay audio cutout glitch. In one of the convertible test cars, we actually intentionally tried to recreate it, and yep, the audio would just instantly drop. So here are the steps if you own one. You might have to intentionally glitch it out, unplug, and use Ford's official workaround, which is forcing a switch from wired to wireless CarPlay. The good news is they're expecting a software update to fix this around August, but it's definitely a modern headache in a retro-themed way. Let's get back to the driving impressions, because out on the road, this thing is an absolute blast. The 6-speed manual feels surprisingly smooth. definitely defying that grinding reputation the MT82 transmission has gotten over time. You also get a limited slip diff, a line lock for doing massive burnouts, and a digital drift brake accessible right through the display. But remember that missing exhaust we talked about? Without the valve system, the exhaust note is surprisingly subdued at normal volumes. It acts more like a regular everyday car. It's louder than a stock 80s Fox Body, sure, but it really lacks that modern Coyote. And as for the overall feel, it's really interesting how massive this new car feels compared to the original Fox Body. Despite being roughly similar in size to early Mustangs, from the driver's seat it is almost giving Dodge Challenger vibes. It's a big, heavy cruiser. You get very usable trunk space, which is great for road trips, but a very, very tight back. Visually, the proportions get even more confused when you walk around to the back. Instead of channeling the subtle ducktail or the classic hatch spoilers of the Fox Body era, the rear wing on this thing absolutely screams 90s Camaro RS. It's not a bad-looking wing by any means, but again, it feels like it belongs to a completely different decade and So, taking a quick breather here, it really makes you wonder. When you look at the fan-made Photoshop concepts, just how perfect could a true Fox Body throwback have been if all the details actually aligned? The right wheels, the right spoiler, the right grille inserts. It's a really fun what-if to think about before we get to the part that really hurts. Right, let's talk reality check, the price. Getting into this FX package starts at just under $59,000, $58,830 to be exact. And for a modern V8 Mustang, that is arguably the new normal. The as-tested price for our heavily optioned model, the one with the GT performance package and those highly controversial wheels, balloons to an eye-watering $75,565. To put that into perspective, that is easily double or triple what a lot of us paid for our sensible daily drivers. It is a massive chunk of change for a nostalgia package. Here is where the context really matters. During our filming, a used Shelby GT350 actually pulled up right next to us. When you realize that a used GT350, with its screaming flat-plane crank V8 and insane track pedigree, costs basically the exact same as this brand new FX, man, the value argument becomes incredibly complex. So, the main takeaway from this whole explainer is really this. The base FX add-on is reasonably priced, and it's a well-executed package for what it is, but it misses the true Fox Body throwback feeling. If automakers genuinely want to give us nostalgia, they need to bring back 90s pricing, not just the styling. A modern Mustang with a truly accessible price tag would sell out instantly. With a lighthearted apology to all the FX owners out there who might completely disagree and are just loving their white wheels, I've got to leave you with this final choice. If you had $75,000 burning a hole in your pocket right now, which one are you putting in your driveway? This brand new Mustang FX or a used Shelby GT350? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and remember to stay curious.